Obama's first 100 days. Back with the panel. Charles?
Pack up and go home? Not a bad idea. Look, I think the essence of this is that Obama was really riding high. Election day, then he crushes the Republicans on the fiscal cliff, and he thinks he's the king of Washington, and he's got an open road. And then all of a sudden, he runs into sequester. The Republicans called the administration bluff, and they won on that. The administration has been embarrassed on all of the elements of sequester. They had to cave on air traffic control, which is going to be a way to push the Republicans into accepting tax hikes. On gun control, the president was unable to get the minimal of what he wanted, simply a reporting, and on background checks. He has had a really bad couple of months. I think the momentum out of Election Day is over. He's treading water right now.
He was asked, Kirsten, about a standoff at Gitmo, basically a sit-in, starvation, basically, by the Gitmo detainees. Take a listen to his answer.
Congress determined that they would not let us close it. And despite the fact that there are a number of the folks who are currently in Guantanamo who the courts have said could be returned to their country of origin or potentially a third country. I'm going to go back at this.
Going to go back at this, try to close Guantanamo Bay.
He's going to do that in his third term, probably, I guess. This is something he railed against in the campaign. It's something that is a complete blemish on the United States, in my opinion. I don't quite understand why he's so helpless. You know, it's always somebody else's fault. And this is not something he's made a high priority. I think this is the first time he's probably mentioned it. I mean, he was asked about it. So I do think this first 100 days thing is a little arbitrary and maybe unfair to the president. He hasn't had a great start to his second term, but at the same time, you know, I don't know that all of that's his fault. The gun control stuff was a little bit out of his hands because I think Congress is so under the sway of the NRA, and there's still a lot of time for him to get perhaps a big deal on immigration, which would be a big win for him.
I should clarify that the detainees are not taking meals. They're being force-fed liquids, and they're being sustained there. But it is a standoff with the guards. On Obamacare, Steve. The president said that it is going to be implemented, but it could get sticky. And like any government program, he says, everything won't be perfect. There'll be glitches and bumps. There'll be a lot of stories that it'll be bumpy along the way.
Yeah, I suspect this is the kind of comment that will strike people who are listening to this at home as totally out of touch. I mean, the president is basically asserting that there's no difficulty with the implementation of Obamacare and that those people who are either confused or are having difficulty following the rules or understanding the rules have their own problems. For the people who are actually having those problems, they're not going to be persuaded by the president insisting that they're not having those problems. So I think this is an argument that's not going to make a heck of a lot of sense. What was more curious in my mind was when the president, in effect, said, well, look, 85% of Obamacare has been implemented, and we've got 15%. It basically deals with these uninsured or underinsured people, but if you're not in that group, you're not going to have to worry about it. That is complete and utter nonsense on stilts. If you look at the people who are having to deal with this question right now, it's small businesses who don't know, if you have 50 employees or less, are you going to be subject to these new regulations? If you co-own a business with your father or your mother, are you going to have to split the business in two? These are the kind of questions that small businesses are trying to answer every single day in consultation, usually with a team of lawyers right now. And for the president to downplay that, it's not an argument he can win, because this is going to get more difficult as we go along, not less.
It was Senator Max Baucus in recent testimony, Democrat from Montana, who said the implementation was a train wreck in his eyes. So we'll see. That's it for the panel. Stay tuned for the latest innovative idea that some consumers appear to be embracing.